Hello, my name is Abigail Smith, and I have the privilege of serving as your Chief Animal Services Officer for the City of Austin. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to be going through the Animal Services Office's fiscal year 2014 budget forecast. The Animal Services Office is made up of 3 units. The first is Animal Protection. Animal Protection enforces state and local laws, serves as the rabies authority for Travis County. The Prevention Unit focuses on public education and outreach with the primary purpose of providing services and resources to community members in need. The Prevention Unit specifically works on the spay-neuter program for the public. Finally, Shelter Services is made up of customer service, animal care, veterinary services, and administration, and is responsible for an average of 20,000 animals a year. Customer service handles an average intake of 55 animals each and every day and provides live outcomes for more than 90% of them. Animal care is responsible for providing food, water, cleaning, and general care for over 500 animals each day at the facility. And finally, Veterinary Services operates a fully equipped veterinary hospital that runs 7 days a week, providing emergency and routine care for every animal in need. 5 years ago, nearly 50% of the animals entering the city shelter were euthanized. In 2010, City Council passed a resolution to change that statistic, and over 3 years implemented the policies and programs that have facilitated Austin's no-kill success. In fact, Austin ranks in the top 20 largest municipal shelters in the country, and we are the first, and so far the only city, to meet and sustain a 90% live outcome rate. In order to do that, it was necessary to grow our life-saving programs. Our foster program has 1,300 homes, and last year fostered over 2,400 animals. The adoption program has nearly doubled in the past several years. It operates at the Austin Animal Center, at Town Lake Animal Center, and at multiple off-site locations. And finally, our transfer program provides live outcomes for animals by working with over 100 rescue partners. In fact, last year our transfer partners accounted for 37% of our live outcomes. This performance indicator does fluctuate each year depending on what we refer to as kitten season. Last year, for example, we had over 1,100 more kittens come into the shelter than the previous year. And those that we cannot have capacity for in our foster program are transferred to our rescue partners as soon as possible. The other half of the equation is preventing shelter intakes, and so an important part of no-kill success is the public spay-neuter program. To keep up with, never mind get ahead of, population growth, we will need to do more. Toward that end, Animal Services Office is working with our partners in a collaborative approach that includes grant seeking and increased outreach efforts. Our budget forecast includes citywide cost drivers such as insurance, fuel, and fleet maintenance. And our departmental cost drivers include utilities for the new Austin Animal Shelter and also for use at Town Lake Animal Shelter. We have an increase in commodities, which specifically includes medical supplies and food for the animals. And we have an increase in expenses due to the transfer of one position from the Health Department over to the Animal Services Office. Our revenue forecast is projected at $1.4 million. Primarily, this includes the revenue from the interlocal agreement with Travis County. It also includes adoption revenue and other fees generated by the Animal Protection Unit. Animal Services has saved at least 90% of the animals coming into the shelter for the last 25 months in a row, but we have also operated over budget the last 2 fiscal years, and the main culprit is personnel expense. The Animal Services Office has employed an average of 20 temporary employees for the last year and a half, which was, and still is, necessary to meet the daily operational needs of the department. The 3 main areas where temporary employees are permanently filling the gap include customer service, animal care, and the behavior program for the center. The customer service unit handles the intake, the return to owner, all the adoptions, the off-site adoption locations, operations at Town Lake, and all other customer service functions for the department. In order to meet our no-kill goals, we've expanded our open hours to the public, and we are fully staffed and open 363 days every year. Customer service handles the 20,000 animals at intake, providing live outcomes for over 90% of them. Animal care is handling an average of 500 animals to feed and clean each day. Most notably, we are not meeting the Association of Shelter Veterinarians guidelines for care, which requires a minimum of 15 minutes per day per animal. This was noted by a state inspector last fall and needs to be remedied. The new shelter is 5,000 square feet larger than the old shelter, and the majority of this is a sterile veterinary hospital environment which requires intensive cleaning. Finally, the Animal Health Technicians for Behavior program is part of the implementation plan and provides evaluations for the safe and appropriate placement for all of the shelter animals. This is a public safety issue and live outcome rates are dependent upon a good behavior program. Currently, this program only has 1 FTE provided, and we are requesting 2 additional FTEs. With the implementation plan in place and the move to the new shelter behind us, what seems evident now is that neither the no-kill plan nor the move to the Austin Animal Center were adequately budgeted for in terms of the number of people it takes to sustain a 90% live outcome rate and operate a 40,000 square foot facility. This budget request for fiscal year 14 is to convert 14 of our 20 temporary positions in order to meet the business needs of the department and to be in compliance with the city's temporary employee policy. On behalf of all of the staff, volunteers, and animals at the Austin Animal Center, thank you for taking the time to review the Animal Services Fiscal Year 14 forecast presentation.